Hello and welcome to Pure Business. I'm Tim Pfeiffer. For the past 11 years, a tech-savvy and naturally social millennial has been doing social media and doing social media well. In fact, she was doing social media before there was even a name for it. Here with us now is the founder of Social Ally digital marketing agency, Natalie Speers. Hello, Natalie.
Hi, Tim.
Thanks for coming in.
Oh, thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
I'm so excited.
Please sit down. Now, Natalie, how did you get into the business of social media?
So 11 years ago, I was working for a local entertainment company based out of Scottsdale, Arizona, and this was when MySpace was the big thing, and this was before Twitter was even invented. And so my particular job for this company was to get people through the doors of all these different events and venues and concerts that were happening around the valley. And so I come from an entrepreneurial background and family, and so for me, I saw a really unique opportunity in order to use MySpace as a means to get people through the door and create a revenue stream from this. And so what I did is I taught myself really basic HTML coding. And so what I did is I coded the back end of my MySpace page to be kind of a virtual business card where I could send all these individuals I was meeting. They weren't learning personal information about me, but yet they were seeing in a fun environment and all these different events happening. And what I did is I coded a data capture widget on there. And so every weekend I would go out by myself, and everybody waiting in line to get into these different concerts, I'd just go down and start collecting data, collecting phone numbers, driving them all to my MySpace page. From there, they would fill out the data capture widget, it would text message my phone, and then I would put them on the coordinating list for all these different events. And it was an equal exchange. They were getting in for free, basically saving $20, $30. And for me, I was getting paid $5 a person that I got through the doors of all these different venues. And so I was very young at the time. I was 20 years old, and I was making some great money doing that. And so the owner of the company at that time, he saw what I was doing, and he decided to create a department within his company for me, and we called it New Media. And this was before the term social media ever existed. And so he gave me a couple interns, and that's what I did. I paved the way as to what New Media was going to look like for him, his business, and all of his clients. And it was really fun, and I did that for a couple years. And mind you, I was the only female doing this at that time, and so which was kind of neat for me.
Yeah.
So I did that for a couple of years, and from there I ended up leaving, and I was a part of a different social media agency with a couple of friends, and our kind of niche was that high-end concerts, events and venues and high-end restaurants, and we started to gain clients all over the country, and that's what I was doing. And I was an early pioneer in doing this with a lot of these businesses. And then there was an unexpected tragedy in my family, and it's not something that I talk about a lot, but my mother unexpectedly died, and she passed away, and so it changed my life in a lot of ways. And so I decided to leave the company at that time, and I took a year off of work, and that year just really changed my life in a lot of ways. It made me realize what I wanted to do with my life, and that I really wanted to make my mom proud, and I knew she was watching over me. And so kind of a year after that, I met some people that really inspired me to get back into marketing, and I knew that my mom was there and kind of like pushing me to do that on a more spiritual level. And so that's what I did. And so 5 years ago, I started Social Ally. I started with one person in my house. I got another employee, and we were working out of my house for a couple of years, and then I kind of just grew from there and started hiring more people. I was out of a little office for a while, and that's what I'm saying. We just kind of grew and grew. And now I moved into my dream office about a year ago. I got to completely design it exactly how I want it. So now there's a core staff in my office of 10 people. Then I have 4 other kind of contractors that I work with. And so it's definitely a dream come true. And it's been a crazy, wild ride. And I'm so blessed to have this business.
Well, you've been enormously successful and especially enormously effective for your clients, and I know people are noticing. You've won some very impressive awards and received some other notoriety.
I have. So actually, last week, I won an award called the Top 30 Millennial Executives, and I was actually one of the only actual business owners that won that award. And I was the youngest one on there too,
great.
so I was really excited.
Young and award-winning. That's a nice combo.
Thank you.
It's never happened for me, and I know it's too late for me to ever get that designation.
And then in 2016, I won an award called 35 Entrepreneurs Under 35 for a national publication, and I was in the newspaper for that. And that was something that was a personal goal of mine, so that was really exciting for me to win. And then other than that, I am very involved. I graduated from Grand Canyon University, very involved with the business department over there. I do a lot of speaking to the students. I was featured in the GCU Alumni Spotlight commercial. I've been written in their magazines, and most recently, they had kind of a Shark Tank scenario, and I was one of the sharks on the panel, and we actually got to award $15,000 to a young entrepreneur that attends Grand Canyon University. And so for me, it's a very big deal because I'm being recognized in my community for all of my passion and hard work that I put into this business, because owning a business is very tough. And there's been times that I've come home crying or I want to give up. And for me to be recognized and know that I'm doing so much good for my clients and for my staff and in all of that in between is just, that's why I do what I do.
Now, lots of individuals, lots of people, millions of people are enjoying social media for keeping in touch with their family and for all the other platforms out there. But why should businesses consider using social media?
That's a great question. So your customers on social media, it's just a matter of finding out where they live, what platforms they're engaging with. But before I kind of explain that, I want to explain the vastness of the social media landscape. So Facebook, there's 2.7 billion monthly active users on Facebook. There's 500 million active users on Instagram every single day. We have YouTube as the second largest search engine behind Google. And then, get this, every 1 second, there's 40,000 Google searches happening. Every 1 second. Wow. And so as a business owner, when someone is typing into Google search phrases that match the products and services you're selling, as a business owner, you want to populate on that Google search. And so it's important for people to know that social media is the new SEO. You must be active on social media if you're wanting to populate on Google search, because Google is now looking at sites like Facebook and Twitter, and they're ranking those on Google. And so you take me as an example. You take Natalie Speers and type it into Google search, and you'll see that I take over the first 3 pages of Google, and it contains, all of my videos, my website, all of my social media, and pictures of me, and so on and so forth. Most importantly, social media is changing. It's fundamentally changing the way that we communicate as individuals. I think that we live in a society where instant gratification, we expect everything very quickly. Our phone is an extension of us. It's on us at all times. We pick up our phone and we have access to information in a matter of seconds. We can go on Amazon and we have something on our doorstep the next day. And so people expect immediate responses, and purchasing products or services is a very emotional decision for someone. And so let's take PureFlix for an example, which is Social Ally's client. Every single day we get 50 to 100 customers coming to our Facebook Messenger asking us technical support questions, asking us, questions, how do I watch PureFlix? And so that's what I mean. Customer service, modern day customer service is changing in a drastic way. And businesses are going to be left behind if they don't keep up with that. And lastly, obviously, social media is much more cost effective. And it has much more precise targeting capabilities. So you take traditional billboard and you take Facebook ads and you compare the two. With a traditional billboard, you do have the opportunity to place it in high traffic areas, and you can predict how many eyeballs are gonna see that billboard. Now, are those eyeballs your ideal customer? You don't know. And then you look at Facebook ads, and you can be very precise with your targeting. You can target people by gender, by age, location, their interests, their internet buying behaviors. And so now suddenly your ads and the money you're spending are only being shown to those people who would purchase your product or service, meaning no wasted eyeballs.
Well, what are some examples of the types of businesses, local or national businesses, that you serve?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the cool thing about that is social media applies to any and every business. Now, PureFlix is one of my clients, and we're in all divisions of their business, the ministry side, PureFlix Entertainment, theatrical releases, and then the PureFlix.com video streaming service. I work with coaches, salons, I've worked with TV news stations, schools, restaurants, you name it. Every client is so different because there's no one-size-fits-all approach to social media, and so every client is very different in the scope of what we're doing for them.
Yeah, I can't think of a single type of business or category of business that wouldn't benefit from an increased or improved social media presence, but have you ever gone in the opposite direction and actually turned down working with a particular client, and if so, why?
Yeah, you know what, I have. So for me, it's very important. If I don't feel that myself or my business aligns with their overall mission, value, and goals of their actual business, I won't work with them. And so there has been an instance in which I have taken on a client and this person signed a 6-month contract and they paid me up front. And it was a lot, it was a good sum of money. After about a month of working with this particular client, I found out that this person was kind of bullying my staff, and they were kind of belittling my staff, and they treated me much differently than they did my employees. And so that just wasn't going to fly with me. And so what I did is I got my checkbook out, I wrote the check, and I mailed it off. And I am a very non-confrontational person, so for me to call and have this conversation with this particular client was very difficult for me, and it was a learning lesson for me. And those are things that all business owners go through in different types of ways, and that's what makes you stronger and a better leader.
And I bet your staff loved you for it, you going to bat for them like that. Now, on the other hand, you must see lots of heart-touching stories. Have there been any favorites?
Yeah, so I'm actually going to take that question. I'm going to circle it around to my employees and my my company culture. So for me, it's always been really, really important to treat my staff with love and respect and kind of have an open door policy. I want everybody to come to me and feel free to contribute to the overall vision of the company and give me their ideas. I'm not a very corporate type of person. I believe that your staff is the foundation of any business. And how do you build a house without a solid foundation? And so that's why that's really important to me. And, obviously with any business, employees come and go and they have different life experiences that they need to go through. But I have some staff that has been with me from the very beginning. And for that, it's really crazy to see because they've grown with the business, and the business is how it's become something bigger than me. It's become something bigger than us. And so that's a really cool thing. And so back to your heartfelt question, I actually have a folder in my email, and this folder is labeled nice emails, okay? And so over the past 5 years, I have gotten so many handwritten letters. I've gotten emails from clients and employees of just like all these amazing stories. I've never had an employee leave without writing some sort of letter to me about how I have impacted their life in some positive way. And I get clients writing me about how I changed their business in a really great way. And so for me, that's my why. It's why I do what I do. And it's, like I said, owning a business is one of the toughest things that someone can do. And I go into work every day and I pour my heart and soul into Social Ally, and to know that others are watching and others are learning from me and growing from me personally is amazing. It's why I do what I do.
Ah, that's wonderful. Now, I know you're doing lots of work with PureFlix. What's your favorite thing about PureFlix?
I love PureFlix, and I love everything that they stand for. Their vision is to influence the global culture for Christ through media. And so I think that we live in a very, very complex world. We're constantly bombarded by sex, violence, drugs. Our children, they look up to these Hollywood stars who probably are not the best influence. So to know that Social Ally is working with PureFlix and knowing that we're contributing to this society and culture shift as a whole is awesome. And so every day, you know, we see hundreds and hundreds of people commenting on all of PureFlix's social media with these amazing stories about how we've changed their lives in some sort of way. And so my favorite thing about PureFlix is that we're literally changing lives. And I actually brought with me today 2 customer testimonials that I'd like to read from you that I pulled from social media, from PureFlix's social media.
Yeah,
okay.
please do.
So here's one. I love the faith movies on PureFlix. It helped me understand so much more about the Father who created us and this world we live in today. PureFlix is helping me with my recovery from drug addiction. I just celebrated 1 year clean. Thank you, Jesus, and thank you, PureFlix. Wow. How cool is that? And so I have goosebumps. And so I'm telling you, every single day we get, this is just one of thousands. I mean, it's awesome. It's really cool.
Now, can you leave our audience with your most timely and useful social media tip?
I can. So this is a great question, very timely. Facebook just made a huge change that's going to impact all small businesses across the globe. And what's happening is they're going to change the way that things are displayed on our newsfeed. And right now, the way that Facebook sits, if you log on to Facebook right now, start scrolling through your newsfeed, you'll notice that you're seeing a lot of content from businesses. You're seeing, you know, funny memes, videos, inspirational quotes. You're not seeing the content from your friends and family, and so that's what Facebook's getting ready to change. They're getting ready to change their newsfeed algorithm, so you know, businesses aren't really being shown, and the friends and family content is. And so for me as a marketer, it's very bittersweet, because on one side, I can personally relate, because I go on Facebook and I'm just, you know, well, where's my friends and family's content? All I'm seeing is other businesses. And then on the flip side, it's going to be a huge costly change for a lot of businesses who may not have a set social budget. And so it's going to force people, it's going to be a critical turning point, and it's going to force people to rethink their entire social media strategy. And so I'm going to leave the audience with a little tip before we wrap up here. And that tip is, if considering this big Facebook change, I want our audience to really think about how they can kind of work themselves around this change. And the number one thing is, our audience, if you are a business owner, you need to start thinking about how you can create engaging and quality content that prompts people to comment on your posts. Because people that comment on your posts, Facebook considers that meaningful engagement. And so those are the people that are going to be distributed into the timeline, because they want people to comment on their posts and they want others to come engage in those comments. So it's creating more of a community amongst the fan base. And so those people, those fan pages that generally don't get a lot of likes and comments, they're going to have the biggest decrease in distribution and have the hardest time. And so that's why it's very, very important for us to rethink our social media strategy and start thinking about how you're going to think outside the box and start sparking conversations amongst your own fans.
Well, Natalie, thank you. That is a very valuable tip with these changes happening now, so thank you for sharing that. Natalie Speers, founder of Social Ally, you've got a great thing going, and I know your clients are pleased. You're located in Scottsdale. Your information is up on the screen, but your client, it really doesn't matter where your client's located, right? You can take them from anywhere.
I have clients, yeah, literally all over the world.
Yeah, terrific. Well, good, Natalie. I wish you much great continued success, and thanks very much for coming in.
Thank you.